Thank you very much. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this interrogation of the suspects in these dreadful, dreadful murders. Before I start, I just need to run through a few housekeeping bits to make sure that you're all up to speed. You'll find life much easier if you have your display switched to speaker view, which is normally a little tag in the top right-hand side of the your display. It'll either say gallery view or speaker view. Be easier for you if it's on speaker view. And the other thing is that I need to know if you've got a question to ask. Now, the way you let me know that you've got a question to ask is you raise your hand. Now, don't do this because I just think you're waving at me, which is all well and good. But the reality is I can't be looking at hundreds of people all waving at me. So you need to raise your hand electronically. And the way you do that is to click on the participants. So that you should all be muted. Never mind. Okay. You click on participants, and this will bring up a. Thank you, Francis. This will bring up a list of participants, and if you have a question you want to ask, you raise your electronic hand by clicking on the little tag at the bottom that says "Raise Hand." I have just done that, and you can see that a hand is raised. Listen to the questions that go before you. Because there is a good chance that somebody might ask your question, and if they ask your question, then obviously just lower your hand, and I won't come to you. All right. Now, before we start the questioning, what we're going to do is I am going to ask the top 11 because we like to do things in 11s here. I'm going to ask the top 11 questions as posted on the older internet Facebook thingy. So you might want to make notes because obviously these are questions that have been asked by popular demand. Right. Now, the first thing I need to do is to check to make sure we have all our suspects with us. Start with Mr. Brad Temple. Are you there, Brad?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you very much, sir. Do we have Antoinette Tony Wirral Timpson?
I'm here.
Thank you, madam. Dorothy Dottie Barkin?
Oh, present and correct.
Thank you, madam. And now we have Albert Grizzly Bear.
Yeah, I'm here. Can we get on with this?
Oh, still very alternative there. Still very alternative. And also Shelley Beach. Shelley, are you there?
Oh, yes, I'm here, officer. Namaste. Namaste.
Thank you, madam. Yes, lovely girl, wrong planet. Right, okay. So we'll start off with the questioning. And the first question is to Brad. Brad, would you like to elucidate a little bit on this scam that Clint was referring to?
Well, nothing much really. My wife has very expensive tastes, you see. I've been rather a silly old fool, and well, I've been taking a little money from the company over and above my salary. Not that the company can't afford it, and not that I don't deserve it for all the work I do, but I suppose it's not quite, well, cricket, really.
Thank you, sir. And can I ask all of our suspects, where were you at the time of Clint's murder? We'll start off with, well, we might as well start off with you, Brad.
Well, I was in the main reception room. I mean, people were very upset, of course. I'm the most senior Ratz representative, so I stayed in the main room consoling people, reassuring them.
Well, thank you, sir. And what about you, Tony? Where were you?
I was having a fag.
Oh, very good, sir. That doesn't actually tell me where you were.
Oh, sorry, Inspector. I was outside having a fag.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. And Dorothy, where were you?
I was still in the main hall after listening to all that terrible man's terrible plans. I was just in complete shock. So I was just sitting there with my head in my hands trying to gather my thoughts.
Thank you, madam. Where were you then, Yogi Bear?
Oh, you're very funny, you are, aren't you? Right, yes, I went to Clint's office, but he was alive when I got there. I went to Clint's office to have a word with him about the changes he wanted to make to the contract. I ripped the contract from his hands, I tore it up, and then I left the room. But he was still alive and moaning when I left him.
Yes, sir, of course he was. Of course he was. And what about you, Ms. Beach?
Oh, Well, you see, Clint and I had some words earlier, and I was just finding myself a little quiet place to meditate and get myself into a calm place. So I was just outside the main room, just in a little quiet corner, meditating.
Thank you, madam. Now I've got a question for Dottie. How did Clint find out about the general manager's position?
He'd been a member of staff for years, and all jobs are posted on the staff notice board, so he would have seen it there. No secrets.
Thank you, madam. While I have your undivided attention there, madam, would you like to tell me, do you have a master key? And have you been accused of stealing jewellery from the guests?
Yes, I do have a master key. I kept it as a little memento of my time at the top. Nobody's ever asked for it back, and I saw no reason to hand it back. Why should I? And stealing, yes, I can see why you might think that I had been stealing. It's true that I do occasionally let myself into the guest's room, and if I see any lovely jewellery lying around, I might borrow it for a bit, with every intention of giving it back at some stage. Although usually by the time that happens, they've long gone, and then I can never remember where I got it from. If that's what you mean by stealing.
I think that's probably exactly what we mean by stealing, madam. I now have a question for Brad and Dottie, and we'll go to Brad first. Why did you give Clint the job after your initial reservations on his interview?
Well, quite simply, some people don't interview terribly well, and Clint was certainly in that category. But after the interview, he asked for a private word, and he gave me some very, very compelling reason why he should indeed have the role of general manager. And so I had no hesitation but to appoint him.
Compelling reason, sir?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Thank you, sir. And Dottie, why did you change your mind about giving him the job?
Well, I have to completely concur. He didn't interview well at all. In fact, he didn't answer any of our questions. He just sat there and glared at us and occasionally smirked. Not impressive. And then afterwards, he asked if he could have a quiet word, and I went with him to have this quiet word. And after the quiet word, oh, to be honest, he told me that he knew that I'd been stealing from the guests. And as soon as he said that, and then he gave me his strange stare, I realised he was just the man for the job.
Thank you, madam. Now I'd like to ask all our suspects one at a time. Are any of you a qualified first Dan black belt in a martial art? We'll start with Shelley.
Oh, no, black is a terrible colour for feng shui. The energy completely blocks the flow of energy anywhere, so no, definitely not. I do Tai Chi.
Thank you, madam. Yeah, why does that not surprise me? Tony, do you have a first Dan black belt in a martial art?
No, I don't. I don't need to. I've got my rolling pin, got my potato peelers, and I've got a whole kitchen full of knives. So no, why would I need it?
Thank you, madam. Brad?
What's a Dan?
Well, it's my cousin, actually, but I think it's a level of skill in some form of martial arts like origami, sir.
Oh, I see. Well, no, I don't do any sort of martial arts. No, I do make an excellent Tai Chi. Oh no, Chai tea.
Oh, thank you, sir. And what about you, Mr. Grizzly Bear?
Yeah, no, I don't do any of that stuff. I haven't got time for all that pouncing around in white pajamas stuff.
You wouldn't get dressed up like that, would you, sir?
Yeah, right.
And what about you, Dottie?
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you have a first Dan black belt in any form of martial art?
Rumbled. Yes, I do. I've been studying Shotokan karate for the last 5 years, and I'm now a black belt. So exciting. They've even got a certificate and everything.
Thank you, madam. I have to say you really don't look the type, but yeah, looks can be deceptive if you ask me.
But underneath this frail frame, you'll find a core of steel.
Yeah, I'm sure, madam. I am absolutely sure. Right. I now move on to another question for Tony. Tony, have you ever been issued with a final warning for aggressive and threatening behaviour?
No, of course not. I am a very gentle being outside of the kitchen.
Okay. Right. Now to Albert. How did you meet Brad, and what was this new deal about in the Ratz Hotel that you had made in the last few weeks?
It's a bit of a nosy question, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
We're the police. We do that sort of thing, sir.
Yeah, all right. Well, I met Clint when we was at school. We was at school together from when we was 12 until we was 16. So when I come into the hotel a few weeks ago and first saw him here, recognised him straight away. He haven't changed a bit. Well, not that much anyway. He was a jerk then and he's a jerk now. Anyway, so I already had the Ratz Hotel in mind for one of my Bertie Bear's big burger barns. And when I saw Clint there, I thought, he's a man who knows a deal when he sees one. So I persuaded him that this was the place to have his burger barn. Of course, that was before he tried to stiff me on the contract.
Very good, sir. Shelley, can you tell me where you met Clint? Was that in prison, madam?
Oh, no, not in prison. No, I met Clint about 6 months ago. I was invited to do a talk on the art of feng shui at an interior design conference that was being held here at the Ratz, and that's where I met him. Yeah.
Thank you, madam. And I've got another question for everybody. We'll start with Dottie, and the question is, Dottie, whereabouts were you when Tanya was murdered?
I'd not long had this conversation with her when she made some dreadful allegations about my dear Reggie. And it was all so shocking, I went and sat down in the lobby. And I looked in my handbag for some paracetamol because one of my heads was coming on. And I couldn't find any. So I thought I'd go out to the car because I always keep some in my glove compartment. And I went out into the car park and there she was, dead.
Thank you, madam. So it was you that found Tanya's body then?
Yes, it was, yes.
Okay. What about you, Brad? Where were you when Tanya was killed?
I stayed in the room. I couldn't believe what she said. I loved her. I was willing to give her everything, and then now she's dead.
Oh dear. Oh, I'm sorry to upset you, sir. You understand we have to ask these questions. So you were in the main room. Yeah, that's very good, sir. What about you, Shelley? Where were you?
Oh, well, you see, just after Tanya had left and made that big exit, I noticed that behind her was a group of pot plants that were completely in the wrong arrangement for feng shui. They were completely blocking any energy coming to the room, which I thought explained some of her outburst. So I'm afraid I did get a little distracted rearranging them so that they were in more of a flow.
So your
that I've arranged.
So your alibi, madam, is a pot plant.
Yes, a cactus to be exact.
And can it substantiate that alibi?
Well, I wouldn't get too close, officer. It might prick you.
Thank you very much, madam. Thank you very much for that bit of advice. So what about you, Tony? Where were you when Tanya was done away with?
I was having another fag.
Another fag?
Yeah, I was outside in the unofficial smoking area, as you do, having a fag. And then Albert came out and joined me. And we had a little bit of a chat. And then I heard a scream. And I said to Albert, did you hear that scream? And he said, no, he didn't hear a scream. So I popped around the corner, poked my head around the corner, but I couldn't see anything. And then I saw Dottie coming out and I thought I didn't want to get stuck by Dottie, you know, she can chat a bit. And I had a bun in the oven, which I could smell burning. So I had to go back in.
Congratulations on the bun in the oven, madam.
Not
Now,
me, Inspector.
oh, Oh, sorry, madam. Sorry, madam. Albert, where were you when Tanya was murdered? Can you substantiate Tony's story?
Yeah, I can. I went outside to smoke a rather fine cigar, which I brought with me to enjoy this evening.
You
Because
nearly
I
set his
thought
bear costume alight.
because I thought it was going to be quite an enjoyable evening, and Tony was out there smoking those disgusting roll-ups she insists on, and yeah, we was out there smoking for a bit, and then she says, "Did you hear that scream?" Which I didn't, on account of the fact I've got this thing blocking me hearing. This stupid costume, what Clint made me wear, jerk, rat bag. Yeah, and then so she said, "Did you hear that scream?" And I said, "No, I didn't." And she went nosing off to have a look and see what was going on. So I'd finished my cigar by then, so I went back inside.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I have another question for all our suspects, and the question is quite simply, are you being blackmailed by anybody? We'll start with Tony.
Well, black is such an interesting colour, isn't it? I mean, I don't like it for the same reason, well, not the same reasons that Cheryl doesn't like it, but black means something's burnt, and that's not good food. But if I have to answer the question, then yes, as a matter of fact, I am.
All right, thank you, madam. So, Brad, were you being blackmailed?
Well, I wouldn't like to call it blackmail exactly. I simply came to an arrangement with young Clint, who had found out that I was creaming money off the company, and we agreed that if I paid him £2,000 every month, he wouldn't tell the bosses or the police.
That's not blackmail then, sir.
No, not in the least.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dottie, were you being blackmailed?
Well, I'm not sure what the definition of blackmail is. Does that mean is somebody getting money off me? Because no one was getting money off me. But Clint did make me give him the job in exchange for not telling anybody about the disappearing jewellery. So is that blackmail?
Very close to it, madam. Very close to it. Well, what about you, Albert?
No, of course not. Who blackmailed me? Stupid question.
Well, I have to say that's probably a fair comment, sir. Right. So that concludes the questioning from the internet thingy, and now we'll go to you, lovely people, to ask questions of our suspects. Please be clear about which suspect you are asking the question, and listen to make sure that nobody has asked your question previously, so you're not repeating yourselves. Now we'll start our questioning with Laura Brown. Are you there, Laura?
Hello.
Hello, Laura. Who would you like to ask, and what is your question?
My question is for if we could ask both Tony and Albert. I'd like to know where they first met. I'm wondering if maybe it was in prison. Perhaps they could tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, I was working in the kitchen prisons, and I met Albert whilst he was having a little stay there, shall we say. And actually, he's a very different person on the inside. Dare I say he's a nicer person on the inside? And he actually became a little bit of a favourite of mine, so I used to slip him a little bit extra in his puds and stuff.
Yeah. Any more of my secrets you want to go and tell people? That's personal information, that is.
Shut up, Albert. You don't scare me. My rolling pin is bigger than yours.
Yeah, well, yeah, I met Tony when I was in Wormwood Scrubs, and she was, like she said, she was the chef in the prison kitchen.
Thank you very much, sir. Do keep your hair on. Right, we now have a question from Caroline. Caroline? Are you there, Caroline?
Yes, yep, I'm here.
What is your question, madam?
I wanted to know whether any forensic evidence was recovered from Albert's spare suit.
Well, to be honest with you, madam, I didn't really want to get too close to Albert's bear suit, but at the present moment in time, we have not retrieved any forensic evidence from his person.
Okay, thank you.
You are more than welcome. Now we have Silky's iPad.
Hello.
Hello. What's your question, madam?
We've got a question for Brad. What have you done with your scarf?
No, I've taken it off. Same as the bow tie. I mean, the former part of the evening is long gone, isn't it? And it gets rather warm, so I've just discarded them.
Okay, and what happened to your hair? You look a
Well,
bit
it's
disheveled.
a shock with everything that's happened this evening. Absolutely terrible shock. Plays havoc with one's hair, you know. May I ask why you're sitting underneath a group of hot air balloons?
Because it was my birthday.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you. And thanks for your answers.
Oh, my absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much, both of you. We now have a question from Sam. Sam, do you have a question?
Yeah. I got a question for Shelley Beach, if I may.
Yeah, far away, sir.
Namaste.
Yeah, no, namaste. So with the unfortunate incident with Tanya this evening, have you been in contact with the producers of Arranging Rooms to see about getting your job back?
No, not yet. No, because the police turned up and it didn't feel appropriate. But I will be doing so. Yes, of course. I mean, that really was. I was in the line for that, so I'm hoping that maybe I might still have a chance now.
Cheers.
Very good question there, Sam. Very good question indeed. We now have a question from Gillian. Gillian, are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm here. I'd like to ask you, Inspector Corner, do you know anything about the 2 murder weapons? What was used to strangle, what is his name, Clinton, and what was used to hit the other lady?
Well, I can tell you for sure that Brad was, not Brad, sorry, Clint was strangled and there were fingerprints on his throat, but he may have been actually rendered unconscious with possibly a clothing item of some sort. But there are fingerprints on his neck, but we have not managed to identify who they are from. They are with forensics as we speak. Now, as far as Tanya is concerned, well, we can be fairly sure that she was beaten to death with a brick. The brick was found at the scene, and there are partial fingerprints on that brick, and we are again working on identifying who those fingerprints are from. There was also some blonde hair on the brick, which leads us to believe that that was Tanya's hair, and that was the murder weapon. Does that answer your question, madam?
Yes, thank you very much.
You are more than welcome. More than welcome. Absolutely. We now have a question from Karen. Karen, do you have a question for us?
I do, yeah. It's a question for Shelley and the same question for Dottie as well. I noticed you're both wearing lovely red rings. Can you tell me where you got them from, please?
Oh yes, thank you. Yes, this is the ring that my Clint gave me. So sort of like an early engagement ring. Obviously, we never got the real thing, but I treasure this because he gave it to me, and it's all I've got now.
Thank you, Shelley. That question was also for Dottie, yes?
Yes, please.
This ring, my precious, it's a funny story actually. I found it. It's like I found it on a desk in one of the offices in the hotel. Just abandoned. Nobody around seemed to have anything to do with it. I mean, it was in a little red velvet box with a bow, but nobody was laying claim to it, so I just decided to give it a good home. And I love it.
Thank you, madam. Does that answer your question, Karen?
It does, yes. Thank you.
You are more than welcome, madam. More than welcome. We now have a question from Laura. Laura, are you there? Do we have Laura?
Hiya.
Hi. What is your question, and who would you like to ask?
It's a question for Tony. I wondered whether she could tell us a bit about, she mentioned when she was talking with Tanya about someone called Rick, that it seemed they'd had a love battle over in the past. Could he expand a bit about the history of that?
So Rick was a chef here and common interest. Obviously, we got together and we were very happy. And then Tanya, with her size 9s, comes in and again steals him from me. It's not the first time she's stolen someone from me, but this time I thought I'm not going to take it sitting down. So we had a bit of a fight with Jelly, which I have to say I won, but Rick got fired and I dumped him at that point.
Thank you, madam. Does that answer your question, Laura?
Yes, thank you.
You are more than welcome. We have another question from Sam. What is your question, sir?
Yeah, this one's for Albert Bear, if that's possible.
Far away, sir. Far away.
Yeah, I'd just like to have a look at his hands. If he could give us a wave, that'd be great.
Could you give us a wave, please, Albert?
Well, you probably have to say something at the same time, so it comes up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot you was doing that speaker view thing. Yeah, right. Here I am, and I'm waving my hands. Pools, whatever they are.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Very nicely waved. I've got another question here for you, Albert. Why is it that you won't allow anybody to visit your bear sanctuaries?
Well, because they're sanctuaries for the bears. They're not tourist attractions or zoos. Bears need their privacy.
I see. That's fine. Thank you very much. Shelley, how did you feel when all your work was rubbished by Clint and your hopes of presenting the TV's arranging rooms was dashed?
Well, I was very upset, obviously. I mean, poor old Clint. I mean, he's very clever and talented, but he doesn't know anything about feng shui. I mean, he doesn't have a clue. I mean, purple and green. What was he thinking? I know that eventually, if things hadn't gone the way they'd gone, that we'd have actually managed to persuade him to go back to my original, very calm, energising designs. The arranging rooms thing was just a misfortunate thing. I mean, again, that woman didn't know anything about art interior design, nothing at all. Very upsetting.
Thank you, madam. We have another question from Gillian. Gillian, what was your question?
Hello again. I'd like to ask Dottie whether she's ever given anybody, when she was the manager, a written warning about their behaviour.
No, I didn't get involved in anything to do with the personnel side. Reggie dealt with all of that. That was nothing to do with me. No, wouldn't know. Sorry. Clueless.
Okay,
Thank you, madam. Karen has a question. Are you there, Karen?
Yeah, this is a question for Dottie. When she found Tanya, you didn't take anything from her, did you? Like maybe a ring from her finger?
Actually, yes, thinking about it, yes, I did notice that she had a rather gorgeous ring on her finger, and clearly she didn't need it anymore. And I mean, there's so much riffraff walk around in the car park that anybody could have come and taken it. So yes, I did. I removed it and took it into safekeeping.
Excellent question there, Karen. Excellent question. Our next questioner is US. Us.
Us. A question for Shelley. When you worked in the prison, which prison did you work in, and did you meet any of the other suspects?
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't work in the prison. I mean, I wasn't a prison officer or anything. I was invited in to give them some ideas about energy and feng shui and interior design. I started by suggesting that maybe lilac or pink would be better uniform colours, because it's just such a calming thing and it would bring out the better nature of the people that were residing there. Did I meet anybody? Well, I didn't really meet anybody other than the governor and a couple of the prison officers. So I never met any of the residents, I think we should call them, really, because, you know, everybody has bad luck, don't they? But I did meet Tony once. She was serving some tea and cake and stuff at one of the meetings, and I did meet her and we had a little chat, but nothing special.
I have a question for us. Us, did you realise there's a man loitering behind you? I think you may have a burglar.
No.
There's no one there.
No, you're quite right, sir. There is nobody there now. We now have a question for Laura, from Laura. A question from Laura. Are you there, Laura?
Hello.
Far away, madam.
I was wondering whether you've had the chance yet to take a closer look at the phone that was found near to Clint's body. Have you managed to identify was it definitely Clint's phone? And has it had a memory card or SIM card or anything removed? Any information about that at all?
It was without any shadow of a doubt Clint's phone, madam. There was nothing was removed from the phone. It still had its memory card in there, but as yet we have been unable to retrieve any information from that card, from that SIM card. But it was definitely Clint's phone.
Okay.
A question from Jackie.
My question is to Tony. Were you meeting Clint on Wednesday the 5th and the 19th at 7 o'clock? And if so, what was the meetings about?
Clint? No. Clint and me were in the past. No, there was no way I was meeting Clint. When I first started at the Ratz, we had a little bit of a thing going, but no, not me. I didn't like him.
Okay, thank you.
Does that answer your question, madam?
Not exactly, but that'll have to do.
Okay. I've got a question for Tony. Can you tell me, madam, were you involved in the closing down of a cafe due to some dodgy circumstances?
You mean my cafe?
If it was your cafe, madam? Yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Yes, it was. And yes, let's just say financially things didn't work out very well for it. So I was looking for cheaper meat, shall we say. And there seemed to be a plentiful supply of rat. And I thought, do you know what? Ratatouille surprise. Why not make it a real rat in the Ratatouille surprise? After all, Heston can do bacon and egg ice cream. Why can't I do ratatouille? But the health inspectors didn't take too kindly to that, and we got shut down.
Thank you very much, madam. We have another question from us, and that strange man, sir, has returned. Oh, he's gone again. You're all right. What would you like to know, sir?
To Brad and Albert, who did you assault to end up in trouble with the police, and do you know who Clint assaulted?
Sorry, what was the end of your question there? Who did we assault and?
Do you know who Clint assaulted?
Oh, I see. Well, if I can go first, my misdemeanor, if you could even call it that, was simply a mistake on behalf of the police and the young waitress whose collarbone was broken. I was simply I was admonishing her in a very forthright way, as is my wont. And I was, I was pressing myself against her at the time, not in any inappropriate way, you understand, just in a sort of, one might say a violent way that did cause her bone to break, but only just. It was a hairline fracture. Quite frankly, in the country we were at the time, they take all of that thing far too seriously. Over here, I'm sure nobody would have minded.
The same question was addressed to Albert. You are muted, sir.
Yeah.
You are still muted, sir.
Shall we try again?
Why not? We've got
Right.
all night, sir. We have all night.
That's good. It was a total miscarriage of justice. There was this journalist, right, trespassing on one of my bear sanctuaries, and I had to persuade them to stop trespassing, if you see what I mean. But did the police arrest the trespasser? No, they arrested me for preventing him from doing further trespassing. Shouldn't be allowed. Anyway, just 'cause he had a couple of broken bones in his arms and in his legs and in a couple of his ribs, just because he had a couple of minor injuries, they said that was GBH and I got done for it.
Okay, that'll be a grievous bear harm, presumably, sir.
Oh, yeah, very funny.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, do you have any more questions for our suspects? All the little hand raising appears to have stopped, which would seem to indicate that you are happy. So if you have any more questions, now would be the time to ask them. Joe, I just got one more question. Who actually of our suspects smokes? Shelley?
Oh no, it's terrible for you. No, my body is a temple.
Brad?
No, I don't smoke.
Tony?
Yeah, I do.
And Dottie?
Oh, no, never smoked, never will.
Can somebody tell me, can the smoking area be accessed from outside of the building? Tony, perhaps you'd like to answer that, as you are a smoker.
Yeah, if you go out into the car park and around the corner, you can get into the unofficial smoking area. Also, but I don't go that way. We've got an emergency exit in the kitchen, which I prop open with carrots so it doesn't shut on me. So I go out that way, but no one can get in that way because I'm always by the door.
Okay, thank you, madam. We got a question from Francis. Do you want to ask your question, Francis? Need to unmute yourself, that's good.
Right,
What
yeah.
would you like to know, madam?
My question is for Shelley. Obviously, you were extremely upset about the idea of Tanya taking this programme that you were so looking forward to doing. And it would be seen that there was a bit of an argument. And Tanya's body was found with a lot of bruises. Did you actually have a physical confrontation with her?
Oh no, no, not at all, Francis. No, I am a pacifist and I believe in expressing my emotions verbally rather than physically. It was a travesty that that woman got that job, and hopefully, as Sam said earlier, hopefully now I might be in a chance again, because I do know a lot about feng shui and interior design. For example, Francis, in your room that I'm looking at now, lovely as it is, I would suggest, for example, that you swap a couple of those pictures over so that the energy flows a bit better around the room. I just feel that that would make it flow more for you and enhance it a little bit. You see, that kind of thing Tanya didn't know, you see. But no, I was never ever hurt a fly. Literally would never hurt a fly. I helped them out the window. They're all little creatures.
Thank you, madam. We got a question from Sammy. Sammy, you there?
Hello, yes, my question's to Mr. Bear, please.
Mr. Bear, you have a question.
Can I just ask, what meat goes into his burgers, please?
Oh, this one comes up quite a lot. That's what that journalist was after knowing as well. Yeah, well, all right, I'll admit it, they're bear meat. But bear meat's a delicacy in a lot of countries. So, yeah, people like them. That's why it's called Bertie Bear's Big Bear Burger Bun. Yeah. So, yeah, all right, I'll admit it, they're bear meat.
Thank you, Mr. Bear.
Thank you, madam. Silky's iPad. Are you there? Do you got a question for us?
Hi there, yeah, I've got a question for Shelley.
Fire away, madam.
Shelley, did you know about Dottie stealing jewellery, and did you try to sort of gently convince her to stop it?
I did know. Clint had told me that she had a habit about it, and yes, I had one or two conversations with her, suggesting that maybe it wasn't the kindest thing to do, and that as a lady of some mature years, maybe she should lead by example. So yes.
So did you talk to her, or did you sort of hint to her in other ways to possibly stop stealing?
Well, we had many conversations, and there was lots of hinting as well. Frankly, she's an elderly lady, and sometimes you have to be, keep plugging away to get the message.
It was you, wasn't it?
Thank you.
It was you! It was you! It was you! You sent me that letter, didn't you?
You stole my engagement ring from Clint. Look, he had to go and get another one for me.
What's that got to do with anything? You're the one who puts water features in the building.
Listen, Shell, Clint gave those rings to everyone. I've got one at home. I just don't wear it in the kitchen.
Ladies, please. Now, we have a question from Sue. Are you there, Sue? Sue, you have a question for us.
Hi. Someone's actually already answered ours.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sue. That's